the co-main event of the evening. Now, this was a fight that Dominic said was perhaps the best fight you could make in women's MMA right now.
Woo,
And Zhang Weili put on a masterclass.
she's something.
A
Uh,
masterclass, Dominic. The biggest striking differential in a women's MMA fight in UFC history. She gets a unanimous decision win over Amanda Lemos. Dominic, did this fight live up to your expectations? Did it go the way you thought it would go? And ultimately, just give your thoughts on the performances of both combatants here.
yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Somehow it went 25 minutes. Was not I was not expecting that in my forecast for this fight. But outside of that, Zhang Weili showed how incredible she is. How she is literally getting so much better with every single fight. It's insane. She went from someone that was just like known for knocking people out, which is impressive already for women's strawweight, to now she's fucking trains with Henry Cejudo for one camp, and now she's an Olympic style wrestler. Like, it's crazy the wrinkles in her game we get to keep seeing. For Lemos, it's toughness, right? And we come on here sometimes and say, well, if you're recapping and saying, oh, well, they sure showed their heart and toughness, then the fight didn't go well for them. But, she held her all. She had some submission threats there sprinkled in throughout. I thought she actually held her all on the feet better than I would have expected. But Zhang Weili just dominated in the grappling, man. 221 to 81 was the final count. She had like probably close to 10 takedowns. This is just paints such a perfect picture of the type of fighter that Zhang Weili is, how exciting she is, how fun she is to watch, the well-roundedness. I just can't wait to always see her fight again. I always want to see what's next for Zhang Weili, what's next, and I'm still left with that after last night.
I can count on one hand the amount of moments that Amanda Lemos had in this fight that were like good.
Threatening,
She
yeah.
landed two clean strikes, and she had that submission in round one that was out of nowhere and crazy and really cool how she got that. But besides that, Dominic, I don't think you can really sit here and say that she held her own. Like, I don't think she did at all.
And the
I
striking.
just, yeah, I don't agree with that either, to be honest with you. Like, she landed like 20 strikes the whole fight. Like, I don't
Yeah.
see it. Like, obviously, I know Zhang Weili, the way she dominated this fight was with the wrestling. But, I mean, I guess round four was the closest round, and maybe that is why you say that, is because that was
Someone
the
gave
round
her
that
a
was.
round. Did we find
Yeah,
out what
round
round, by the
four.
way? Okay.
I'm assuming it's round four. I'm assuming.
Okay.
That was the round that was fought majority on the feet. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I mean, that was the only round where it was like reasonably close. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe, but I mean, when I literally looked back and saw there was two strikes I could count to, that was like, oh, those were really good clean shots from Lemos.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't sit here and say that I felt like she got the better of Whaley in any aspect of this fight.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the biggest discrepancies in champion to challenger that I've seen. And you're right; she showed a lot of heart, a lot of toughness. And you're also right that whenever those are the best things you can say about a performance,
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't bode well for how the fight went for them. But I don't think this fight says much about Amanda Lemos. I think she's very good, and even though I was sort of I did not expect her to get this title fight, I can't deny that she did not have a right to it. Like that
Sure.
she beat Marina Rodriguez. Like obviously that
Mm-hmm.
was a huge win for her. I just think Zhang Weili is that good right now. Like I
Exactly.
just think
Yeah.
that there's levels to this game, and I think we found that out here. I mean, the strawweight division is one of the best going. It's arguably the best for women's MMA. I know women's flyweight, something me and
Mm-hmm.
Dom are very high on. But to see Zhang Weili adding these wrinkles to her game, where you're right, she's not just going for broke with like trying to land a power shot and finish you. Now she's blitzing you with combinations, and then as soon as you try to counter, she's shooting for the takedown
Yep.
and taking you down. That's
Yep.
what it was here, Dominic. This was complete domination everywhere the fight went. Zhang Weili dominated on the feet. She dominated on the ground. She dominated everywhere the fight went. This is one of those fights I hate when people use stats to tell the story of a fight. Like I hate that. I think it's the only
Mm-hmm.
sport in the world where stats do not do it justice. Sometimes I think the eye test is actually better,
Yeah.
but the stats
Then
they
there's
tell a
this one.
very accurate story
Yeah.
here. What do you think is next for the champion,
Oh,
Zhang Weili?
man, that's a fun conversation to open up.
Yeah,
That's a fun can of worms. Because You have Yan Xiaonan and the Battle of China. She was there last night. You have Tatiana Suarez, who was also there last night, who's coming off a huge win over Jessica Andrade. And really, like, those are the two. So do we let Zhang kind of chill out and those two fight, or do we just put one of them in there and then the other fight someone else? Like, I don't know. I would imagine, and I know Dana was asked about this going to China, and if that's the case, you're kind of forced to do her and Yan Xiaonan. That is massive, something we've never seen before in the UFC, especially for a title. You do that in their home country. Tatiana can fight. I don't know. Who knows who she can fight? She can fight someone. I know they showed Mackenzie Dern in that little graphic down there, little cheeky graphic said she's fighting Jessica Andrade. I don't know if that's true or not. It must be. But if not, I know Noah said he'd like to see Mackenzie and Tatiana. So let's do the Battle of China. I'm okay with it. I want to see Tatiana fight one more time anyway. I think we said that after Nashville. Give me China versus China.
If they're going to China, that's the fight that makes the most sense, but I don't think they're forced to do it. I think they could do the Tatiana Suarez fight. That's still huge over there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Zhang Weili, I think, is going to be carrying the bulk of that. But yes, if Yan Xiaonan is ready to go, you should do that fight if you're going to China with it. And I also would probably, dare I say, if I had to pick one person to get the shot right now, it's probably Xiaonan. But we may just be delayed the inevitable because, let's be honest, the idea of Zhang Weili taking on Tatiana Suarez right now feels... I mean, Dominic, you said that I think your biggest fight in women's MMA just changed after last night. I think you're already looking ahead. It's that meme with the guy with the arm around his girlfriend, but he's looking at the girl that just walked by him. I'm sure Amanda Lemos will forgive you in due time. But
I hope so.
Yeah, that was very interesting with the Mackenzie Dern graphic. Jessica Andrade, man, just I told her just go back to the lab. Pick. Maybe more smartly pick your opponents, and then she goes and wants to fight Mackenzie Dern. It's like, okay,
yeah.
She's trying to build up that cash flow, I think.
That'd be her fifth fight this year, man.
Yeah. But I would love to see Mackenzie Dern fight Tatiana Suarez as well. And obviously Mackenzie Dern has already fought Xiaonan.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I'm fine with kind of doing Xiaonan first.
Sure.
Because there is a little bit of like, I want to see some fresh matchups, but also see these top four advance, and I feel like there's your foursome right there. So the winners of those two matchups fight for a title, and in the future, and we all sing "Kumbaya" by the Fire.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is, Dominic.